These are the 6 New Yorker cartoons captured by presidential candidate Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang is a 2020 Democratic presidential candidate running on the platform of giving everyone $1,000 a month. But before we analyze his economic strategies, let's take a look at how he creates narratives over cartoons.
Okay, so here we have one very angry looking angel running for office, and then the other angels are concerned, and then this angel is saying something. So that is what the caption must be. What's the question? President of heaven? All right, I got it. I wish that there was some kind of competitive element to this. Like every time you successfully caption a cartoon, you get paid $1,000. I would like to make that true for all of us, but instead of captioning a cartoon, it's living for another month. So for this caption, I came up with, no one has the heart to tell him that there are no presidents in heaven. Can you see where I went there?
Ha ha! Your mom's a jailbird! So's yours. Oh yeah! Let's play!
Let us look at the context in which Mr. Yang has set the image. First, he notes that there is an angry angel and that the angry angel is running for a political office. Then he notes that the other angels are concerned and one concerned angel in particular is saying something. However, the image is not dependent upon this angel being the angel that has to capture the image. There is another angel whose mouth is open, and just because a character's mouth is open by no means restrains the capturing to open mouths. The image could just as well have been captured by the thoughts of the other angels. This is the second time Mr. Yang chooses to capture the image through the character who has their mouth open, rather than capturing the thoughts of what even could be considered the subjects of the image. The first indication of subjectivity lies within the angry angel running for office. It would seem anger captures the angel's state of emotion just fine, however it only does so after the fact. This angel could have just as easily been described as passionate, enthusiastic, intense, and many other adjectives that would seem to be just as fitting as angry. Though what Yang saw first was anger. This now limits the other characters to respond in such a way that the response is dependent upon a reaction to anger of the angel. It would seem reasonable for Mr. Yang to not want to capture the image through the eyes of the politician on account that Yang perceives him to be angry. It is easier to criticize someone being angry, rather than it is to speak for someone's anger in a state of justification. This is also to say that speaking on behalf of anger is not as optimistic as speaking on behalf of someone in criticism of anger. Who wants to be on the side of the angry person? Certainly not anyone wanting to be on the side of peace and dignity. Yang is at one time distancing himself from perceived anger, while at the same time aligning himself with those that are concerned for the perceived anger. Let us now look at the joke itself. The angel capturing the image is supposedly speaking on behalf of all the other angels. And this may be to say, Yang feels as though he is in the position to speak on behalf of the populace rather than solely for himself. We can assume this with the line, no one has the heart. No one implies not one person. The joke could have been otherwise stated as, I do not have the heart. If it was stated as such, the joke would no longer be representative of the other implied angels, but for solely the one.
Alright, I think I already have a line in mind. So, it looks to me like there's a therapist, and there's a car on the therapy couch, and the therapist is giving her opinion. So the caption I came up for this was, did they realize that naming you a smart car would put so much pressure on you? Because you see, the car seems sad.
This joke is one of the more complex, for it is dependent on known subjectivity that lies outside of the image and outside of the joke. Here Mr. Yang gives the audience the joke, but as well as to explain that the joke is dependent on a car being sad. It would seem Yang understands the subjectivity and therefore is unaware whether or not the audience will perceive the joke the same way as he does. Therefore he has to explain the joke after the fact and explicitly reveal his subjectivity, rather than letting the joke speak for itself. In other words, a famous comedian once said, if you have to explain the joke, it is not one. The context being provided by Yang is less subjective and more narrative. He notes, there is a therapist, there's a car on the therapy couch, and the therapist is giving her opinion. This last part contains the only subjective nature to his context. For it is not certain she is giving her opinion more so than it would be certain that the car is providing its own thoughts, or even words. Because of this, Yang is once again captioning the image not through the eyes of the subject. It would seem unnatural for Yang to consider himself to be in the place of the therapist. But, more like the first cartoon, Yang is implementing his nature into the car and speaking through the eyes of how he would perceive someone evaluating him. Just how Yang saw himself as the politician, though captured the image through the eyes of the politician's wife. Since Yang has admitted a subjective nature to the joke, after he already told the audience the punchline.
Because you see, the car seems sad.
It is now revealed that the therapist is saying something a little different than the actual caption. The joke now becomes, did they realize naming you a smart car would make you so sad? No reason to be sad. To anyone who may be sad out there, just remember DDS doesn't stand for dumb stupid. And, Mr. Yang, good luck with your campaign.